So what have you seen that people get wrong or they have these huge pitfalls in your industry? Like what are people getting wrong or maybe should adjust?
Okay, I'm going to speak to you from a Black beauty supply
Mhm.
store owner. Okay.
Yes.
I would say,
Hello, everyone. I am Danny Wigfall, and this is the Design Your Remarkable Life podcast. Here, I interview incredible individuals who are leaving their mark on the world, generating wealth, and charting their own course. So get your notepads out and let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to the podcast. I am your host, Danny, and I am here with the incredible Sharon Hill, who is the owner of Three Daughters Beauty Supply in Birmingham, Alabama. Before that, she spent 30 years in the insurance field, accounting, underwriting, doing claims. Welcome to the show, Sharon. We have to ask you how you made that switch going right into it. How did you switch?
hi, everyone. Hi, good to
Yeah.
see you all. Nice to meet you, Danny. Glad to be on the podcast today. The switch was, it was coming. I guess it didn't happen overnight. I've always wanted to be, I guess, like work for myself.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be real estate because my husband and I are real estate investors. But then I was triggered to go into the beauty supply industry. And I guess I'm telling this whole story right up front. But let me back up. So how I actually made the switch is that I kind of planned for it.
Okay.
I had been there over 30 some years. I knew I wanted to retire. And this happened like 5 years before I got ready to retire. So that's where the switch came in. It was like not like an overnight decision to do that. So it was pre-planned.
Gotcha. Okay. And you also opened your doors in the middle of a pandemic.
Yes, I did. So let me go back and give you guys a little history. The reason why I opened a beauty supply store is that I would get frustrated when I go to the nail shop or to the beauty supply store because I would see us African Americans being the number one consumer, and we didn't own any that I saw, and I would get frustrated not at the owners of the beauty supply store, but at us as a race of people. And so I knew I was not going to do nails. I was not touching feet or doing feet. Okay, that was just out. But I happened to be in the beauty supply store one day, and I was talking to a young lady such as yourself, and I told her, I said, we could do this. And she looked at me, she said, no, we can't do this because there's a lock on the market. So at that time, I kind of stopped talking about it and just kind of got quiet because God doesn't give you a vision to everybody.
Right.
And I went home and did a little research on how to open up a beauty supply store. And it kind of went from there. I attended a conference in Atlanta, found a company that would actually help me open because I knew nothing about the beauty supply store or that industry. I just would go in and get what I need and leave. And so I found a company out of Atlanta that would help me do this and kind of went from there. But I was still working in corporate. I was pre-planning how to make that pivot. Again, it was nothing that was been planned for years, but I was lucky enough to have the resources to start to make the pivot. So that was I guess the main thing was being able to even think about doing it, talk to my spouse about it, my husband and the girls, the three daughters. Talk to them and they was like, okay, Mom, that's a great idea. We love it. So that was one of the game changers. Is having my family on board, to help me do this.
So what other tools do you think really helped you catapult into building this beauty supply? Because as you mentioned, it was on lock. And I feel like that is the rumor too. It's just like, this industry is on lock. Don't even try to get in. It's one of the hardest industries to get in. Like, it is locked down. Don't even think about it. How did you push past that? Or what tools did you have aside from this Atlanta conference? Because it's going to take more than a conference to get going, right?
Yeah.
How did you do that? Yeah.
Well, I started looking at my resources, and because I had been in corporate for so long, I had some experience. One experience was I was going to be an insurance agent. I went through that program, and that program kind of helped me to learn how to do like a business plan, how to think about being an entrepreneur. Then I had to look at, okay, so where am I going to get this money from? Uh, I reached out to the SBA to try to get a loan for that, and everything was looking good. But then they said this particular industry goes out of business a lot. And I was like, what beauty supply store have you seen go out of business a lot? But they were grouping me in with stylists and salons. But in addition to that, they said my debt ratio was too high. And I know a lot of people think, well, when you get ready to go into business, you can use your business credit. Well, no, you don't have any business credit. So anything that you try to get is based on your personal credit and your personal finances. So when SBA said no, I said, okay, so how are we going to do this? So I talked to my husband. Luckily, I had my 401k. And I know some people say, don't use your 401k for that. You don't want to pull that money out early. Well, I did. I used my 401k, and we also had equity in our home. So I used those two. Those were my resources. And I tell everybody, if you're going to open a business or whatever, that's one of the things that you have to plan for. You have to have a budget. You have to have the resources to do this. So that's kind of how I was able to do that, was to use those two things.
I love that too, because a lot of people will say, don't use your 401k, don't use that, but it almost seems like you leveraged it, used it as an investment instead of it sitting there and growing. Possibly you leveraged it to build out the dream that you wanted to build.
Well, it was my retirement. It was
Yeah.
my retirement. So guess what? I retired early, but I'm doing this. I'm doing something that I love. And one of the things is my passion had changed. When I was in corporate, when I first finished school, I was in underwriting, loved my job. Okay, loved my job. Well, things changed. The company downsized, went through reorganization. And I ended up being in claims, which I dreaded every day. Did not like being in claims at all. I mean, I would have anxiety the night before. And so when I said, okay, I got to retire early. I got to do something else. Now it did not help because my husband had retired early. So he had retired a year before. I said, okay, I'll give you a year by yourself, But then I was like, no, I'm retiring too. But luckily I had this in the works. So I was working on this while I was still employed at my corporate job. But it was easy for me to make that switch and not think of this as, oh, I got another job. This was my retirement, and it was a passion, or it became a passion for me. And that was the difference in me enjoying doing this.
That's beautiful. Would you recommend this path for other people?
If you think this would be a passion for you, and this is what I tell my girls, whatever you decide to do in life, just like yourself, you're doing this podcast, I think, because you have a passion for it. Whatever you decide to do in life, make sure that you enjoy doing it. I don't care if it's working at McDonald's and you're on fries or you're flipping burgers. If you enjoy doing that, do it. Be the best person at that position.
Yeah.
I would recommend it if you think this is something that you would like to do. Now, my passion grew. It wasn't like when I was in the store talking to the young lady, I didn't have a passion for it then. I just saw a need. But that need turned into a passion.
Yeah.
And so now I can go to work because as an entrepreneur, it's not your typical 8 hours a day. It may be 10, it may be 15 hours a day. Sometimes it's 24/7 because you're constantly thinking about your business. But I can go to work, be there for about 10 hours, and I'm not stressed. I'm not tired. I'm still ready to do something else. So yes, I would recommend it for somebody else, but I would also say to pre-plan. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
would definitely say to pre-plan before you do this. Have a budget in mind, and we can talk a
Yeah.
little bit more about that a little bit later. But
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So why did you name it Three Daughters Beauty Supply? I mean, I can guess, but fill us in.
Well, I was sitting at the kitchen table just like I'm doing now, and I
Mm-hmm.
was with my family, and I was working on the business. I was going through some online courses that they had given me to do, and I was like, okay, what's the name? What's the name? And I just wrote it down on paper. Three daughters. I said, that's just easy because people would relate that to she had three little girls, a lot of hair that she had to
Mm-hmm.
do because I wasn't a stylist or anything,
Yeah.
but I could relate to that mom or to that person that had to go into the beauty supply store and find products to work on their children's hair. So,
Mm-hmm.
and they were my motivation. My three
Mm-hmm.
daughters, or our three daughters, was my motivation to do this as well.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a lot of hair.
It's
That's
a
a lot.
lot of hair.
And they have a lot of hair.
They have a lot of hair. They have a lot of hair. Yes, yes, they have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of hair. Oh gosh. Yes.
Yes.
It took a
Okay.
village. It took a village.
Imagine. I could imagine. So, what are you working on now? We know you have this amazing business, but what are you working on?
Okay. And I'm sorry guys, the dog is in the background, so I do apologize. It was supposed to be a
Mm,
quiet environment with good lighting, and we're not doing so well right now. But
it's okay.
so what I'm working on right now, we actually moved our original location. We
Hmm.
just relocated this past October.
Okay.
And we actually moved maybe like a half a mile down the street. So now we're working on making sure all of our customers know that we're there, and any new customers coming in. But we're also getting ready to build a suite, um, because I want to have a salon suite or a booth rental for someone that does either lashes or eyebrows or wig installs or braid downs or something. So basically, just another revenue stream. And
Yeah.
that's something you have to think about when you're in business is how many revenue streams do you have in this business? Okay.
Hmm.
But also it helps to drive more foot traffic. And we want it to kind of be more like a one-stop shop as well. So
Hmm.
that's what we're working on right now. Um, and on
I love that.
our online store, we're trying to get that up and running as well.
No, that's good. That's good. And
Mhm.
then, I mean, you have an expert in the store too on specific things,
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome. That is awesome. I love that. Yeah. How awesome would it be if it's like, okay, let me go and get my hair done. Oh, I don't have all the things. I'm already in a beauty supply. I don't have to go get hair and then go to a different place. And then, yeah. Oh, that's
Mhm.
awesome. That is
Exactly.
awesome. Okay. So, what have you seen that people get wrong or they have these huge pitfalls in your industry? Like, what are people getting wrong or maybe should adjust?
Okay, I'm gonna speak to you from a Black beauty supply
Hmm.
store owner. Okay.
Yes.
I would say being anxious.
Hmm.
It's okay to be excited, but you have to practice some patience. And the reason why I say that, sometimes we jump into this industry thinking it's very easy, or we jump into it with a small budget. Um, my budget, I'm just gonna put it. My budget probably was about just for inventory and fixtures was about 60,000. Um,
Hmm.
when I talk to people about my journey and ask them how much money do you need to start this, and I put the numbers out there because that's one of the reasons why I did this also is to mentor other people. But I put the number
Hmm.
out there so they'll have an idea. Now, even though that 60,000 sounded like a lot, it was not.
Yeah.
It was not
Hmm.
a lot for this industry. I wish I had started maybe with 150 plus, maybe even 200,000.
Hmm.
But the simple fact is, when I open my doors, and if you can imagine the shelves in the store, right now I probably have about 6 shelves. Okay. When I
Hmm.
opened, there were three, like one, two, and then the bottom shelf.
Hmm.
So it was not a lot of products. I didn't have
Hmm.
jewelry cases like with the earrings and the jewelry and all of that. Okay. Had a lot of
Right.
wigs, had over 96 wig heads. But the reason why I say to be excited but not anxious, you need to open big. You need to come on strong. Because first of all, you got competition with the other stores, the Asian, the Koreans, the Arabics. Those are your competitors, basically. But not only that, we as a people, African Americans, Black Americans, we sometimes are, and just consumers, period. We're visual creatures. And what I mean by that, when I open my doors, people would walk in and say, "Oh, she don't have much stuff in here." And sometimes people don't come back. And because they say, "Well, you don't have a lot," because you don't have a lot compared to the other stores. So that's why I say you need to really open strong and plan. One of the other things is being able to expect the unexpected. What I mean by that, yes, I had a budget. And I'll give you an example. I had budgeted $5,000 for my signs. This was besides the $60,000 in inventory. This was my signs, different things, other things that had to be done. Because I was in a development, this development had rules, or regulations rather. There were 3 entrants to this development. So each entrance had the pylon signs. We had to have a sign on both sides. So that was 6. Okay. The building was faced toward the development, which is which the main street, they saw the back side of the building. So I had to have 2 signs, one on the back side, one on the front side. So that $5,000 budget turned into $14,000 just for signs. I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that. Okay. One of the other things I think that we forget about, and we're going into business, you're going into business. Uncle Sam wants his money. Okay.
Yeah.
You have to get your business license for the city, the state, and the county. You have to pay your taxes in Birmingham or in Alabama. We pay them on the 20th of every month. Then you have your license, which is basically $200 a year. Those things have to be paid. You have to take care of your business in order to stay in business. So that's one of the things that I think that we forget about. Now, I mentioned about somebody said this business is on lock. In the beauty supply industry, yes and no. Okay. When I opened, I called one company to get an account. And I just recently had this same problem again because I moved literally a half a mile down the street. So because there were 6 other stores around me, which I knew there were 6 other beauty supply stores when I got there. But when I called certain companies to get an account, they would not open that account with me because I was 2 miles down the road from a competitor, or what they call a VIP competitor. I'm trying to, the best way to put this. We're not in control of that industry of who they sell to. So until we get in control of that, yes, there are some roadblocks there, but there are also some ways around that. We do have some Black entrepreneurs, Black businesses that do distribute to products. And so they were okay with opening the doors or opening the accounts with us. There is a little change in the market, whereas the younger generation is more acceptable into doing business with Black-owned beauty supply stores because all our money's green. Okay. So there are some, so we're not simply just cut off. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I have every product that every other beauty supply store have. Okay. And that's one of the things that we as Black-owned beauty supply stores, that's one of the challenges that we run into. We as a people, we think that the Black-owned beauty supply stores prices are higher than the Asians or the Koreans or the other beauty supply stores. And that is not true. Some of our prices are lower. Some are the same. Some are slightly higher. But that's just in any market, whether it's Walgreens and CVS, Target and Walmart. You're going to have the same thing. But we're not charging you $20 more for a wig because we're Black owned. We're getting products basically the same price. Now, yes, if they have 8 stores and we have one, they may get 50 cents or get a product 50 cents or $1 less than we get it because they're buying in bulk. But
Right.
basically, we're still the same price. So,
Mm-hmm.
those are some of the challenges that we run into as Black-owned beauty supply stores. We are not higher, and I want people to hear me. We are not higher on every product
Mm-hmm.
in compared to the Asian or the Korean stores. We are very competitive
Mm-hmm.
with our products. So I think it's
Mm-hmm.
just that we're not as forgiving. Yes, we're human. We don't do
Yep.
everything right. But
Yeah.
but um, I would just say let's be a little bit more patient with each other.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, we as Black-owned businesses, we have to earn your business.
Mm-hmm.
Don't expect just because you're Black that people are going to shop with you because you're Black. We know that that's kind of the new crave right now. But once
Right.
they come into that door, you still got to earn that business. Not
Mm-hmm.
just because I'm Black, that don't mean that you're going to let me mistreat you. My products are not going to be adequate or overpriced because I'm Black and expect you to come there. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I think a lot of it is the mindset on both parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's our mindset.
I love what you said there. I love that. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I also, even that key point that you mentioned, like not as forgiving, you know, I think that's something that I wish we can introduce more, just as a whole, being more forgiving,
Yeah.
giving more grace, because understanding that some people may have a day and you may have caught them on that day and now you're just staking them at the cross,
Mhm.
for that one situation or that one time or that one experience, but going back and trying again, giving
Mhm.
it another go. But I also like the other side of the coin that you mentioned too, is that you have to earn business. You have to
Yes.
earn that business. Yeah, I love that. So
Mhm.
you have hit the pinnacle goal for so many people, which is like retiring early, right? Having your own business, retiring early. So what is your end goal? Do you have an end goal?
Um, I do. I do have an end goal, but I do want to say something else before we get to that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you asked me a question about what do people get wrong in this industry or as entrepreneurs?
Yeah.
One thing I learned, and I want people to hear me well, I was all excited about opening up my store. And I was like,
Mhm.
man, I know this person, I know that person. So many people are going to come. You know, don't get your feelings hurt. Okay. I got
Mm.
my feelings hurt. And I had to grow and get over this. I want
Yeah.
every entrepreneur to hear me. Your customer base should start with 0. And what I
Mm.
mean by that, when you get ready to open, you say, okay, well, how many customers am I going to have? You have 0 customers. You're going to have to build from that. I don't care if it's your auntie, your grandmama, your
Mhm.
100 cousins, your church members, your best friend. Because some of these same people, and I had a friend of mine to tell me that she owned a boutique. She said, Sharon, let me tell you something. The people that you think are going to shop with you are not going to be the ones to shop with you.
Mm.
And I ran into that. Going on 4 years, I still have people that I know. And for whatever reason, it could be that I'm not on their side of town. Okay. It could be that they
Mhm.
do forget that I have a store. Or it could just be they just don't like me. So we
Mhm.
have to be prepared. And this is when I say expect the unexpected. That's one of those
Mhm.
things. Uh,
Mhm.
we can't expect everybody to shop with us or to be our customer because they know us or because you have a
Yeah.
relationship with them. Okay.
Mhm.
And I had to stop myself because I could see a cousin or a friend or somebody and they had braids in their hair or a new wig. And I was like, why you didn't come to me to get your hair?
Yeah.
And I had to stop doing people like that because I had to learn maybe they just didn't want to shop with you. And that's fine. That's fine.
Mhm.
Did it hurt my feelings? Yes. But
Mhm.
that was one of the growing pains that I had to realize. Everybody will not shop with you. So that's what,
Yeah.
and I want entrepreneurs to realize that. So you're just going to have to just put on your big girl britches and just keep
Mm-hmm.
moving. If they want to shop with you,
Yeah.
fine. If they don't want to shop with you, fine. So that
Mm-hmm.
was one of the things. Now, back to your original question.
No, that's great. Yeah.
What's my end goal? Well, I
Mm-hmm.
opened up my store in what we call I call it the heart of Birmingham. It's in a predominantly
Mm-hmm.
African American community. There were already 5 to 6 other beauty supply stores in that area. So I knew I
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of competition. Okay. And some of these stores
Mm-hmm.
have been there 20 and 30 years. So people had developed relationships with these people or with, the other stores.
Yeah.
But I opened my store there because I wanted not just my 3 little Black girls, but other
Mm-hmm.
young Black girls and boys, young adults, even the older people to see we can do this too.
Yeah.
And I get a little bit emotional when I think about this because I've had, I remember a little girl came in my store and she asked me, and she kind of looked around. And she looked at me and she looked around again. She kind of looked at me again and she was like, "Is this your store?" And I was like, "Yeah, baby, this is my store." And Danny, the look that she gave me was
Yeah.
like surprise, disbelief,
Mm-hmm.
but then it was like she was proud of me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized that's why I opened my store.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I put it in a predominantly Black area so that the children could see that we
Mm-hmm.
as African Americans, we can be entrepreneurs. We can do this too. And
Yeah.
so my end game is to hopefully pass it on to my girls, but they got their own thing going on. This was my
Mm-hmm.
dream. But
Yep.
if not, I want to be able to mentor other young Black youth
Mm-hmm.
or even franchise to teach others how to become entrepreneurs, how to own beauty supply stores. So that's kind of my end game. I'm not
Yeah.
young. I started this
Mm-hmm.
because I retired early. So right now I'm 58. So another
Mm-hmm.
8-10 years, I'm not going to be probably doing this. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's my end goal is to help somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Is to help somebody else do this. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
Mhm.
awesome. And I know there's a lot of people
Mhm.
that would probably want that help too. So yeah, I could imagine. And then representation matters.
Yeah, it
So
does.
now she's going off and it's like, the
It does.
reputation when I was younger was like, oh, um, we don't own beauty supply stores or we're putting money in everybody else's pocket. So it's not something that I even saw. So to see it, even now, I think it's beautiful. It's awesome,
Thank you. Thank
breaking barriers. And even not having, let's say, even the same access or VIP access that some other
you.
people have. I love your abundance mindset where you're like, nope, okay, let me figure out another way to make this happen. Because you could have said, oh, okay, nope, not for me. I guess, that was my obstacle and let that hold you back. But you were like, no, how else can I push forward? Okay, I didn't get the loan, but you know what else, what other resources do I have that I can pull from to make that happen? And I love that you didn't get stuck and stay there, right? It's like, okay, yes, I did have obstacles. And I'm sure you had way more obstacles than that along the way, but you're continuing to pursue and keep going and keep going. And that is what's beautiful to see. I love that. That is so awesome. So awesome.
Yeah. And I'll say this, as a Black-owned beauty supply store, we are growing as owners.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's when you start networking with each other. In Alabama, there's probably about 7 or 8 of us. And we talk to each other. We support each other. We network with each other. And it can just be as simple as a group chat, Hey, how's your day
Yeah.
going? Well, it was a slow day. Okay, well, just keep your head up. It's going to get better. So just being able to support each other as business owners, or as a people,
Yeah.
encouraging each other. I may own a beauty supply store, you have a podcast. Somebody else may be opening up a doctor's office. But just being able to have that network to say, hey, girl, you do this. You keep going, keep your head up. Yes, it's going to be rough some days, but you keep doing this. Because one of the things that I found out, and a lot of people, one of the other myths that people think, oh, you open up a beauty supply store, well, you're making a lot of money. No, honey, no. Let me clarify that right now. I've been we're going on year 4. Okay. It takes a business, any business mainly. You have some businesses that hit that one spot and that automatically they're successful the first year, the first month, and you see them, But most businesses, and I actually had one of the other beauty supply store owners who was not Black, he was Pakistan. He told me, he said, Miss Sharon, he said, you'll be fine as a beauty supply store owner, but you got to build your base. He said, but you probably won't make any money until about year 5. 4 to 5 years, that's when you'll probably start seeing a profit.
Okay.
So when I say, so we're going back to that budget. We're going back to that pre-planning stage. Have a cushion. Have a resource. Even if you're on a job, like when I was on my job, even though I dreaded that job, I had to remember why I was going to that job every day. And it was my end goal. It was to do the thing that I wanted to do. So use your resource to get to your goal. And
good.
that was one of the things that I had to endure. And I'm grateful. That I had that resource. But you have to plan. You have to have that cushion, have, again, expected, unexpected. So, you have to account for all of that when you become a business owner.
Yeah. Awesome. That's good. Good. What are 2 tools that you couldn't live without in your business?
A good POS system.
And for people that don't know what that is, what is that?
Point of sale system. And my point of sale system, the one that I have now, kind of talks to me. It lets me know how many customers I had. It lets me know how many customers I had a month ago compared to this month. I can do my online and my brick and mortar simultaneously with this system. So that's one tool. Another tool, I would say, God. Being able to rely on my faith when I end my shift or end that day and I've made $25 that day, or I made $0 that day, or bills are due and I don't have enough money to cover the bills. So being able to rely on my faith, giving God the praise through the good and the bad. And before I even started this journey, praying and asking God, hey, can I do this? Because I had doubts. I really did before I opened these doors. And I remember being in church one day and my husband was preaching about Abraham. And I said, Lord, I can't do this. I'm not going to be able to do this. I cannot, and I could hear as plain as day as God telling me, I got you.
Yeah.
And sometimes they say you have to talk back to God, so some days I would come in and I was, okay, God, you said you got me. And I remember pulling into the garage one day and my daughter called me and she said, Mom, where are you? You should be home by now. And I said, I'm here. So I'm sitting in the garage. She said, why are you sitting in the garage? I said, just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. I'll be in a minute. Danny, I had made, I think, $25 that day. Now my rent was almost $4,000. Okay, a month.
Yeah.
I had made $25 that day. And so when I got in the house, I was telling my daughter, because she was my store manager, my middle child, Jay, she was my store manager at that time. And I told her, we made $25 today. She said, Mama, she said, without a test, there is no testimony.
Yeah.
And I had to realize out of the mouth of babes. God tell us sometimes you have to listen to children. But I had to realize when I began to tell people about my journey in this, it's not going to be all glory and glitz. You have to tell them the hard side of business. And I thought, well, she's right. She was right. She was right. So you will have tests and you will have a testimony when you become a business owner. So yeah. Yeah. But those are the two tools. And I would say God first, and then my good POS system. Yeah, definitely relying on my faith.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, that's good. That's beautiful. Okay. What advice would you give yourself if you had to do it all over again?
I would say to save more money, not to shop as much. Oh, I used to be a good shopper. I would go shopping all the time, buy 5 pair of shoes and 4 outfits, And this was in my young days when I was 20, 21 years old. And I remember one guy when I was working at my corporate job, he would take the new employees into a room and talk to them about their finances. He said, put money into your 401k, put money, invest. Oh, okay, I put $10 in there, a paycheck. That was over 30 some years ago. And I think about if I had put in the max, because I had no children, no husband, I was making money, the only expense I had, because I was even living at home. But yeah, so that's an advice I would give to my younger self, is to save for several reasons. Early retirement, you may want to do something else. You may want to buy a house. You're going to have a family one day. So it's okay to enjoy life, but have a plan. Have a plan.
Gotcha.
And I will say this. 20-some years ago, I had no idea I was going to be a beauty supply store owner.
Right.
But I knew I wanted to do something because I had been doing real estate for years. It was just kind of embedded in us as children because my dad's always owned real estate, get real estate. So me and my husband started doing rental houses, real estate investing, that type thing. But, but just having a plan early in life. So, yeah.
What would you say to people, because you pivoted in your 50s, right? You retired early and then started a whole new business. But at that stage, sometimes people can get stuck that I've been doing this one thing for so long. That's all I can do for, the rest of my life. What advice would you give to that person that may want to change, but they're on the fence about it? They're like, oh, I want to shift, but I've had so much success, in this career that I don't know, any advice or any wise words you would have for that person?
2 things I've heard. I don't remember who said this. Do it scared. And one of my motivational speakers, Lisa Nichols, I love listening to her. She was saying, step out on faith or take the jump, take the leap. The worst thing you can do is fall. You're going to fall. If you fall, it just depends on how hard you fall. But when you fall, you just get up.
Yeah.
Now, do you get up and make a difference? Or do you get up, and say, okay, man, that hurts. I'm not going to do that again. But just being able to step out on faith and just do it. Just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just do it. It's good to have a plan. It's good to dream. But if you don't ever do it, it's just a dream.
Yeah.
It's just a dream. So.
Yep. So if you had to rewind back to 2020 or before 2020, actually, if you had to do it all over again, what would be your first few steps? Like, this is one step, this is one step, this is one step. What would be your first few steps if you had to do it all?
Personal development. There are a lot of resources nowadays for entrepreneurs. Doing your business plan, being able to pitch your business, look for grants,
Yeah.
Shadowing other people, whether it's somebody else in a whole different industry. Just learning, and knowing your weaknesses.
Ooh.
As an entrepreneur, you typically start out being the boss, the janitor, the salesperson, the cleanup crew. I mean, everything. But you can't do everything and be effective at everything. So I had to learn my 50 some years old. Social media was my weakness. I mean,
Yeah.
it still is. My girls can tell you horror stories about that. Like, Mom, you got to learn how to do this. But learning your weakness. So I end up getting someone to do my marketing and also do my QuickBooks, my bookkeeping, so that I can have my financials in order. Because a lot of times when you go for grants or when you go for a loan, you need to give them financials, and it's your personal financials, because right now you don't have any business credit. So, yeah, I would think those two things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. What keeps you motivated?
My passion for the business.
Yeah.
And you'll learn when you open it, this is your baby and you want it to succeed. My girls, my young relatives like nieces and nephews, and that little boy that comes into my store. Yeah. Because I didn't realize the impact I was having on my own family. So one of my nephews told me, said, Auntie, you open up a business.
Yeah.
And it just didn't dawn on me that they were looking at me, or they were paying attention to what I was doing. So that helps. Like, okay, yeah, I did. I got to succeed at this, So, I mean, my own girls just saying, Mama, we are so proud of you. So and my husband told my girls, he said, you know what your mom did? I mean, she opened up a business. Your mom opened up I mean, it was like everybody was kind of like, they kept hearing me say it, but I guess I wasn't paying attention that they were watching me as well. And they say, you can talk a good game, but until you actually get out and play, then, but yeah, just, so that's where my passion comes from and my motivation. Yeah.
Good. Through this, you've built a lot of generational wealth. And I don't mean that financially. I mean that someone else seeing that you built this, and then now they're like, it's unlocked a new level for them. Oh, I can do this too, And then next, even nieces and nephews coming in and being like, oh, wow, this is amazing. Now I believe I can do something like this, or I can open my business because, Auntie Sharon did this, So, oh, that's awesome. And that's something I consider. A lot of people talk about like, oh, this generational block or whatever it may be, but people don't realize that knowledge and actually seeing someone else going on their journey can provide wealth within their own personal journey as well. So you're impacting so many people, and a lot of those people you don't even see or even know. And that's beautiful. So I want to ask, what is wealth for you?
Wealth for me, or I guess success or wealth, one thing is for me being able to sleep at night.
Yeah.
And not worry about bills and finances, kind of being able to live within my means. The best success to me is when you can enjoy it and not be worried about it constantly, but be able to spend time with my family, be able to travel, be able to have some me time. And that's when I know I'm wealthy or successful.
Awesome.
Yes, I want to make the six figures. I want to make millions. Who doesn't?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we have to be able to handle what we already have.
Yeah.
The more I make, do I spend more or do I plan better?
Mm-hmm.
How do I
Yeah.
leave generational wealth to my children?
Mm-hmm.
Is it me leaving them in debt and not teaching them how to be entrepreneurs or to handle their finances? That's wealth to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that the next generation is better off than what we are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. Nice. Okay. So now we're moving into the rapid fire round.
Okay.
So I'm just going to say quick things. It's either this, or I'm going to ask a question and you just have to answer with something quick. You can say why you picked that, but you have to answer with something quick. Okay. All right. And because you own a beauty supply, I'm going to ask a few things and try and get some nuggets here. Okay. Okay. So if you had to pick one hair product, what would it be?
Oil.
Oil.
Mm-hmm. Oil. OIL. Oil.
Okay. I'm sorry, I got stuck there. Okay. Oil. Favorite edge control. If you had to pick one.
Oh gosh. Okay, so like now I probably need some edge control. You guys see this? I haven't used edge control since I went natural. Back in the day, I would say it was Cream of Nature. It was Cream of Nature. And the reason being I could put a little water on it the next day and brush it down again. And it didn't flake up. Okay. And then it also, as I aged and gray started coming in, they also had it in brown and black, so I could color in the gray around.
Yes.
It was Cream of Nature. I know now they got everything else, Edge Booster and Even and all that other good stuff. So yeah. But anyway.
Yep, I'm using Black Panther right now, so that's another new one. I was like, Okay. Podcasts or books?
Ooh. Oh,
don't feel like you have to say anything. I want to hear.
Okay. All right. Right now, podcasts.
Okay.
Such as
hair or nails?
Such as whole self wealth.
Yes. Whole self wealth. Yes. Thank you for the plug.
I need to listen to her. She's dynamic. Okay.
Thank you. Hair or nails? There we go.
Oh, hair, honey. Hair. I can get by with some fingernail polish or some press-ons, but hair. Yes, hair.
Breakfast or dinner if you had to pick one meal?
Oh, dinner. Yes. Nice steak or potatoes or some collard greens and fried chicken and macaroni and cheese. Yes, that is, I'm a true Black person that said, well, just kind of stereotyping. Well, it is what it is. I love my greens. Yes, breakfast I can, that's kind of hit or miss because it depends on what time I get up.
Got you. And since you brought up this amazing meal, macaroni and cheese or greens?
Greens.
Okay. Yeah. So what would you say is your latest interest or obsession? Something that you're into right now? And this could be about anything.
My family would tell you sports. So tennis. I love tennis.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends on what's going on. But yeah, I would say probably tennis right now. I'm watching tennis. Football. I love to watch. I kind of go with who the quarterback of the year is. Like written down, it was Cam Newton. Now it's Jalen Hurts. Tennis. I started kind of watching it when Serena was on the scene. Now Coco is there. So, that's what I'm into right now.
Awesome. Sharon, thank you so much for joining this podcast, giving all of the wisdom, the nuggets, the downloads. Where can people find you or get in contact with you?
So follow us on all of our social media, Three Daughters Beauty Supply, and it's the number 3. So it's Three Daughters Beauty Supply Store, or Three Daughters Beauty Supply on Instagram, Facebook. We do have a TikTok presence. My youngest daughter is supposed to be our TikTok guru, so hopefully she's listening to this and she's doing a TikTok right now while she's at the store. Or you can reach us on our phone at our phone number at 205-777-5750. But yeah, and we're on WhatsApp. I'm on WhatsApp too, up under Three Daughters. So yeah, so just reach out to us. We're working on the online store, so you'll be able to shop online. But if you know of a certain product that you want and you just want to give us a call, say, hey, I need the edge control, then we'll still ship it to you. So.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. It has been a pleasure having this conversation. And thank you everybody else who joined the show, listening in and getting those nuggets. I hope you guys gleaned some amazing information. And if it's not for you, share it for someone else as well too. All right. You all have a beautiful day. That concludes our show. Bye-bye. And one more thing before you go. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, leave it 5 stars, and share it with a friend. That incredibly helps our channel out. And we don't want you to miss any amazing nuggets that could change your life in any way or someone you know. So please share this with a friend. And remember, you have the power to design your remarkable life.